So against that backdrop, right, we are approaching a slightly more risky investment environment. We still have a need for investments that will provide steady income, that are stable, and where we don't want to see major drawdowns. So how do we design something to help us meet this goal? One of the things we suggest is a multi-asset solution. Now, if you look at this chart, this is the return of many different asset classes over the past 10 years. And you can see some asset classes, in some years, they do really well, and then the following year, they fall to the bottom of the table. And then maybe they go up again. So what multi-asset does, it doesn't provide you those exceptionally large returns, but it also protects you from some of those exceptionally large drawdowns. So if I look at multi-asset, which is this light green color here, you can see it's providing you a more steady stream of returns over time. You will see multi-asset appear in the middle of this table rather than at the extreme top, at the extreme bottom. And that is the type of consistent strategy that we think will work well in this environment where volatility is going to pick up a little bit. So what is one of those big goals that a lot of us think about? Well, one of those goals is retirement. And for those of us who are approaching retirement or who are already in retirement, a key thing that we need to think about is how do we generate a steady income, right? Income is a key objective for retirement or those who are approaching retirement. The second key objective is we want that income to be quite stable and to last for a significant period of time. A lot of us are spending many more years in retirement than our parents' generation or some of the previous generations. So we want that income to last for a significant amount of time. The third thing is we don't want large drawdowns or pullbacks. When you get large drawdowns in your retirement savings or your retirement investments, it means it doesn't last that long. You probably end up using it a lot quicker because you have a smaller amount of money. And so that's the third thing we want with some of our investments for this type of goal. So I want to talk a little bit about savings. Retirement savings, when we think about retirement, we just think about putting money away for that future goal. But we don't think about the return we are earning on that money. We don't pay as much attention to it. And that is important because in this example, for every 1% of extra return you earn on your retirement savings, it's going to last you in retirement that much longer. In this example, for every 1% return you earn on your savings, it lasts you an extra 10 years. So it's very important to earn a good return on your savings. In Taiwan, people are now living 10 years longer than they were maybe 30 or 40 years ago. So our life expectancy has gone up by quite a lot. And on average, in Taiwan, people retire at about 61. So the amount of time you will spend in retirement is significant. So finding yield is extremely hard from some of the more traditional income-producing assets. Now, finding yield is hard, but the risk that comes from finding that yield has also gone up. You can see the risk in 2017 is so much higher, more than double what it was in 2007 in order to get that same level of yield. So it's become a riskier environment to generate the yield or the income you're looking for. So how do we solve this problem? How do we solve this problem of getting an attractive yield and doing it with a reasonable risk? We suggest, again, multi-asset. So obviously, starting with fixed income, but then also looking at equity and looking at some of these non-traditional areas. And I'll talk about a few of these non-traditional areas. The first one you may or may not be familiar with are called MLPs, Master Limited Partnerships. So this is a special type of publicly traded partnership. It's very specific to the US market. And these partnerships are involved in the production, transport, and processing of energy and other natural resources. And because of a unique federal tax law in the US, such type of partnerships are able to pay out a large portion of their revenue in the form of distributions to investors, which makes them extremely attractive from an income perspective. You can see these types of assets or these types of investments give you about a 7.7% yield from an MLP strategy. So again, looking at some of these non-traditional types of assets is one suggestion that we have. The second one I want to talk to you about are REITs. A lot of you are going to be familiar with REITs. REITs are really companies that invest or finance income-producing real estate. And they tend to pay out about 90% of their income in the form of dividends. So again, this presents us with a good opportunity to deliver income to you as an investor. We expect 2019 to be a period where we go from pretty calm seas to more stormy seas. And so we would think for your investments, you want a well-built or a well-constructed boat, a boat that is diversified across different asset classes. And also look for areas of the market where valuations or prices are cheap. Don't focus too much on the short-term noise, on the short-term sort of risks that we see. I was talking to someone earlier, and we tracked how many times President Trump tweets on a monthly basis about things like China, about things like trade war. He tweets about, at least in the first part of this year, about 30 to 40 times a month, right, on some of these topics. So there is a lot of noise, there is a lot of this news in the market, but we would encourage you to think more about your long-term goals, to think more about your long-term investments. And also think about a multi-asset strategy where, as we move into a slightly more volatile environment, it will give you what we feel is a more steady income, a more stable income, and help minimize some of those drawdowns that you might potentially see over the next few years.
投资一定有风险，基金投资有赚有赔。申购前应详阅投资人须知或公开说明书。